Hey guys, welcome back. Still doing the beginners course, sewing, still looking for ways that are very practical for us beginners to start to learn how to actually, sew your own shirts. Those of you that have been watching these videos that I've been making know that I started with just freestyling, didn't work out. And then I went to pre-made patterns from the Burda brand, which is a very big brand here in Europe. And that didn't work out either, mainly because they're not consistent in the way they're giving you patterns. Some patterns have allowance, other patterns you have to add the allowance, and then for some patterns and how to sew them together, they just do some sort of a conclusion instead of taking you step by step, which I really found annoying because when I go, when I resort to that as a way of learning me how to sew, it means that, I'm on level 0. Okay, so that's why I come to you to help me a little bit ahead with whatever you can give me that I don't have to do myself. So to find out that sometimes I have to figure out that this piece needs allowance that you have to add, that piece has it in it already, the other piece is this, and like I said, some steps were really jumps ahead, and in between you just have to figure that out. So conclusion is, maybe it's just me, maybe it's my level, what I am with how I'm sewing, but it just showed for me that it wasn't clear enough for me. The so-called step-by-step was not clear enough for me. It wasn't step-by-step enough for me. Not saying that you shouldn't get it, maybe you should still give it a try, but for me, and I know myself, I'm not like the dumbest human on earth. I have still some brains that work, but I can honestly say that it wasn't for me. That's it, just so. Anyway, but if you want to go try it, or if you found ways to work with it, or if you understood the instruction better than me, then please, by all means, go ahead and do it. It's not about what I'm showing you. It's about finding a way that's easy enough for everyone on every level. So what I did, I let go of that idea. What I did is I decided to make my own patterns. So I took a shirt that fits me, which is this one. Just take a shirt that fits you, not too tight, just one that's nice, comfortable, and just fits perfectly the way that it makes you feel comfortable also. Get that. And then, if you don't want to ruin any shirt, just get one that's old or worn out, or one that you were planning on getting rid of anyway, and just start cutting the pieces, not randomly, but just cut them where you can actually see that they have been assembled. So this is the cuff, for example. So I see here a stitch, okay? This is a stitch that connects the cuff with the how do you say that? With the sleeve. Okay, so cut that. Then we have the sleeve, like this. See? So this is the sleeve. And it's now folded out. Usually it's together like this, and then you have a sleeve, but now it's folded out, okay? So cut it out again, just follow the stitch that would normally connect the two sides together. And this is what I mean by the cuff. This is where the cuff was. No, and it's not big because you always squeeze the sleeve a little bit together. That's how the width of the sleeve is never as big as the cuff. You always squeeze it together, and then you hold it together by stitching the sleeve around it. So yeah, so this is what I mean. So just look for, like a very practical, crucial stitches that connect one piece with the other, and just make the cut right there. Okay, so this is the cuff. Again, just look for these kind of stitches. Some stitches are decorative. Don't look for these. Just look for the actual ones that keep one piece together with the other one, and just cut there. Separate them. So in case of the sleeve, you have to cut them from the cuff, and actually also cut them to make them to make it able that you can fold it out. Okay, like this. Another thing is follow on your shirt. I mean your actual shirt. On your actual shirt, follow the armhole. See, again, don't look for just for any stitch. Look for the outside line, the most outside line that you can find, where one piece is attached to another one, and just disconnect there with scissor. This is where you get. So this is the sleeve. This is where the sleeve used to be. So something else that I learned, I didn't learn that from the Buddha patterns. I didn't learn that even with my own experience trying to make my own patterns by measuring myself, my own body measurements. But what I learned from this, from cutting out and disconnecting actually my own shirt, is that the sleeve, or I should say the armhole or the sleeve, like I said in the previous video, there is no symmetry. Because look, this piece is shorter than this piece. So that is also something they don't tell you nowhere. I haven't seen that anywhere. They just tell you to do this, measure your arm, measure this, come down with so many centimeters, 7 centimeters. This is where the arm should be. Blah, blah, blah. But if you're missing this, and you don't have this kind of information in the back of your mind, the sleeve, the armhole, you know, the pit under your armpit will always be troublesome for you when you're starting to learn how to sew. And that's what it was for me. And that's why I stopped making my own patterns, because I would make a perfect shirt, but then it would be tight under the armpit. And I started to notice that, you know, there is something, my own patterns were not like the shirts that I buy at the store. There is something, so I'm missing something. There is this difference in height when it comes to the armhole on the front and the armhole of the back. So that is also something that now it's very, very clear for me. I mean, the clothes that you buy in the store are completely different than from what I was taught, you know, the way that I was taught to make patterns. So this is more reason for you. If you're like me and you just want to find a secure way of learning how to sew your own shirt, this is something that we have to explore more, you guys. So anyway, so once you have disassembled, I should say, all the pieces, look, this is the back. And with the back, because we're still learning, I'm not going to make it complicated for myself and work with yokes. So I left the yoke still connected to the rest of the back panel. See? So for me, the back is the back. It's one panel, including the yoke. Because I don't understand why you should bother someone that's still learning to sew with the yoke, which is unnecessary. It's not like crucial. So it's nice to have it on a shirt and it makes the back comfortable. But it's not like a crucial step that you have to bother someone with still taking his first steps into the world of sewing. So for now, I'm just going to leave it as a whole. Okay, so once you have disassembled your shirt, you should end up with the back, the sleeves, 2 sleeves, 2 separated fronts. See? 2 separated fronts, 2 cuffs, of course. This is the other sleeve, 2 cuffs. And then the collar and the collar band still together. Okay, I've tried this, so I can show you guys how this will come out. And this won't be a problem. It will work out, trust me. So instead of doing this little collar band and then the collar, for now, because we are exploring ways to make it practical and easy for the new beginners, I'm keeping the collar band and the collar as is for now. How it's going to work out, I'll show you. So again, so you'll have 2 cuffs, the collar and the collar band, two front, 2 sleeves, of course, and 1 back panel. From that, we're going to make our own patterns See, like this. Just put them on pattern paper and, you know, follow the lines. Now, once you've followed the lines, add to that the allowance of 1 centimeter. That's what I did. And adding allowance, you know, with a straight line is easy. But once you have these curves, you really need to work with, let me show you how I did it. You really need to work with this centimeter, which is drawn on this thing. See, it's indicated 1 centimeter. So what you do is you put it on the curved line like this, and then with a pencil you draw a little line and just keep going along it. Keep going along that curved line. Make sure it's always 1 centimeter and make as enough connecting points as needed to make the curve as accurate as possible. Once you do that, you can use this curve on this side to draw the curved line. Look, see, there it is. There is the end. Can you see it? It's transparent. So use that, and then you have to find ways. You have to find the right angle constantly. Move it around little bit by little by little, until you find constantly every often the right angle to still keep connecting the curved line. So why do you have to connect it? Because this is your lowest point. This is the front. This is the lowest point of one of the fronts. And this is the lowest point. So we're going to get a shirt that goes like this. To keep it easy for yourself as a beginner, you can actually skip the curved line and just keep the length the same. So this is the front. This is where the buttons or the holes would be. And this would be the side line that would go from under your armpit all the way to your waist on one side. So you can also choose to just keep it the same height. In that case, just use this 90 angle and just draw a line and connect it right here. That will be easier, and I should have done that myself. But it doesn't matter, you guys. We cannot escape the curved lines because you'll have to deal with the armhole. The armhole would be the same. So just to put a piece that you cut out, disassembled on the paper, and just follow the line. That's easy, but then again, we have to do the allowance. And for that allowance, whether it's the armhole, the curved line here, or the neck hole, just follow the trick that I just gave you with this thing. Get one of these and just keep following the line as long as it's 1 centimeter. Make as many connecting points as possible. Sometimes you have to curve. Just go with the curve. Make sure that it's always 1 centimeter. Okay, so this is how I made my patterns. I hope it's clear enough for you guys. I don't want to leave you behind with the same questions that I had reading some of these stupid books or following those so-called easy steps of Buddha and all that. So now I have my own patterns. Now I'm going to transfer them to the fabric. Still, this doesn't give me enough guarantee, any guarantee that this will work out. But I feel like I'm on the right path. Why? Because I disassembled, after I have these patterns cut out, I disassembled them as I would with actual fabric on a sewing machine. And for that, I just mirrored the actual pieces that I disassembled. I put them together and I followed and I looked clearly how they go back together to form a shirt. And of course, these correspond with my own pattern pieces from the paper. So I look at that. How am I going to assemble these to make them back into a shirt? And I mirrored that to the corresponding pieces that I have on the paper. And it worked. So now I'm going to transfer my own patterns to my own fabric, you know, to match these pieces of the actual shirt. And I'm going to use this as a reference to see how I'm going to sew them together. So whenever I don't know how or what, I'm just going to put the shirt back together and then see where I am at that point and start connecting them, sewing them together as the shirt used to be. So I hope this makes sense for you guys. So now, next step for me, I'm going to leave you. Next step for me is I'm going to copy these to actual fabric and come back to you. Guys, one last thing. The front panel is needs a little side note because this is one of the front panels. As you can see, it has this banner. It has this banner for the buttons or the buttonholes. It doesn't really matter. So what you're gonna do is, when you have one of these panels, you'll see that it already has one banner included because it's this one. See, this is what it ends. It's black, you can't see it, but trust me, this is one banner. So we have that. But this banner, as I've seen, is folded 3 times. So you have one, two, 3. So beneath this are 2 layers of the same size and shape of this banner. So when it comes to this, you know, to make sure that you have a banner for the buttons and the other side for the buttonhole, vice versa, just draw the first time like this, as is, you know, as is this, and then you'll see that this, and then indicate which banner is included already, which would be this one, and then of the same size, the same length, draw 2 more banners. Okay, so make sure when you're working with the front pieces, make sure that you're in the middle of your pattern paper to have enough space to add these 2 banners. And to keep it easy on yourself, just do so for both panels, the front, the left front and the right front, because it doesn't matter. We're gonna be needing a banner for the buttons and the buttonholes anyway. Doesn't matter. Okay, so this is what I did. That's the only last note that I wanted to give you. Okay, so for the front panels, I'm not going to do any allowance on this side because I'm going to fold this banner anyway. I have enough. I'm going to fold these banners, and that's more than enough to create one banner for the buttons or the buttonhole. Okay, so this goes for both panels, for the front left and for the front right. So the middle, no allowance, but the outside line, do 1 centimeter allowance for both. Let me see. Same goes for the back panel. So you cut the back panel as one hole, then press it, fold it together, press it until it becomes this. So this will be the back panel. Don't cut it in the middle or anything. Just disconnect it and keep it as a whole. Then fold it and press it together, fold it, make sure it's tight pressed, and then put it on the fabric. So on this side, you won't be needing the allowance also because this is going to be on folded fabric. So you're going to be needing the allowance just for the outline and the neck. Because when we transform this on fabric, we're going to be doing it on double fabric, and then we're going to fold it out, and this line will be in the middle. So here I go, guys. So this is the band, the collar, and the collar band. One piece. Fold the fabric, and then put this straight line where the fold is, and cut it out. That way you'll have 2 at once. Just don't cut here. Leave it as is. Leave it connected. Leave it as is. Don't cut it in the middle. And just start the line and cut this out. Guys, work with pins. I'm always too lazy to do so, but they do help. Work with pins, okay, to keep everything on its place. So guys, one last thing, because like I said, I want to share with you something that you can actually work with if you're a beginner. So the collar, keep the collar connected to the collar band. Don't disconnect that. As a whole, on a folded piece of fabric. You see here an allowance on the upper side, the top. This is actually a mistake because I'm going to keep it as is. This is a folded fabric, and I'm not going to cut it in half. So just trust me. So when you do the collar, just do the line and don't do the allowance on the top side. We're going to keep it as is. Just double fold it right here. And we're going to stitch. So this is going to be folded. You don't have to stitch it. You're gonna stitch all around these lines. So that's why you have to do the allowance. Okay? And this, when you stitch these sides close and these sides close, you're gonna have this opening, and that's where eventually the complete collar will be connected with the rest of the shirt. So keep this closed, but we're not to sewing yet. Do the same thing with the cuffs. See, this is one straight line, no allowance on folded fabric. Just add the allowance all around, but not on this side. This side is on the folded fabric. Just use the pins, pin it down on the fabric and cut it out. Just put it aside until, you know, we need it. So I just finished the cuffs on double folded fabric. Again, you guys keep them folded on this side. Just do the allowance along the rest. So this one, this is the front. Like I said, the same thing, because we're gonna need the banner for the buttons or the buttonholes either way. So I'm gonna do this as is. See, with these 3 banners that I just explained on a folded fabric. But then I'm gonna press the fabric first before I'm gonna use it, because otherwise the fabric will be a little bit hard to handle. So I'm gonna press it, fold it, press it, make sure I have enough fabric, even when it's folded, enough for this to be on it. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then after that, fold the fabric open and then cut it in half along this line. From that top to this. So the front, the left front, the right front, and the back panel are gonna be the biggest pieces. So make sure when you make them on folded fabric, make sure you have enough fabric that's folded to put it on it. So this is how I'm gonna put it on it, on that. On there, again, this is what I will be separating the 2 pieces when I fold them out after this, because I need 2 separate pieces for the front. So I'm gonna press this line and then come back, put this on it, and then pin it down on the fabric and then start cutting it out. So I just finished pressing it. See, nice smooth line, tight pressed. Now I'm going to put this on it and then use pins to pin it down. Much easier. So now I'm gonna fold it out and cut it in half along this line. Okay, so now I have 2 separate front panels. I'm just gonna keep them like this for now, because I'm not going to stitch just yet. So by the way, guys, it's very, very important, once you've once you've cut out these patterns on paper, it's very important to assemble the shirt as it would be once it's finished, and then mark which side of the sleeve, the pattern or the sleeve in this case, that once you transfer it to the fabric, give them the same marks so that they would match, so that you know that that piece will be on this side. This is very important because, like I said, the shape and the length of the armhole on the sleeve differs. The back and the front, they differ. So even so, it's one piece when you fold it out. When you have one big sleeve before you stitch it together, to make it into a tube sleeve, that one piece differs. The beginning of the sleeve from the back is completely different than the way it ends up. It goes around the shape of that. So assemble it, align it, and then make sure that you use some sort of a symbol that indicates which side matches to where, which side will be aligned where. So I was going to do the same thing for the back panel, which will be one piece, not dividing it into 2 or anything, just one piece. Again, put the straight line, the longest line, on the folded side of the fabric and press it before you start pinning the patterns on there. But in this case, I don't have enough fabric, so I'm gonna have to use a different whatever fabric that I still have here left over, As long as it's big enough for me to fold it and then put this on it, and that it would still be enough, big enough for this. So, which means the back will be in a different color, probably. At least I hope. I hope I have enough fabric of different colors laying around. So there's the back. Again, this is the fold. Keep it as is, and I cut it out on double unfolded fabric. I tend to find this better to cut the shape out than when using the scissor, because when you're using the scissor, you do this constantly, which means you start an edge of each new cut, and that sometimes creates corners that you don't want. But with this, it's just one straight line. You just go like this and you cut it out, and it's smooth, nice line. So if you have the option, use this one. So guys, I'm gonna wrap this up, this video, but a little summary for you. What we've done today is we ended up with, so this is the shirt. So we have the cuffs here. Okay, 2 cuffs. And the cuffs you cut by putting your pattern that you created on folded fabric. This long line on the fold, and then cut it all around this and give it an allowance of 1 centimeter, just like this, not on this side. Okay, so this is what we have, 2 of that. We have 2 sleeves. The sleeve has to be completely separated, two completely separated pieces from each other, of course, because we have two arms on both sides, so there's no way we're going to keep them connected. So 2 separated, completely separated pieces with an allowance all around. And make sure that you end up with a shape that's different from that side. That's how we know that you have something. Then we have the front panels, like I said, 2. The way I do this is put this side on a folded fabric and then cut it out and separate them by this line eventually. And do the allowance all around, but not on this side. Under that we have the back. The back, again, put this side on the folded fabric and do the allowance all around, but not on this side, because this is what we will fold it. This means that it's folded, so we'll fold it out and you have 1 piece back panel. And the collar on folded fabric, again, this is the only allowance that you have to ignore in this case. No allowance on this side. Okay, so just like with the cuffs, no allowance on the top. Put it on folded fabric, cut it out, and then do the allowance all around, but not on top. Same with the cuffs. Here is the fold, allowance all around, but not on the top. So this is it. So next time, hopefully, we'll start assembling this and see what we end up with. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please ask them. If you're wondering what the heck I'm doing, I told you guys that I was going to find something that's practical, not per se from books. Something that works, is practical, so that we don't have to do a lot of work, a lot of pre-work to make a shirt. And if this works out, it means I will keep these patterns as my own, that I will be reusing. But we'll just have to see about that. So now we have 2 cuffs, 2 pieces of sleeves. We have the collar and the collar band on folded fabric. We have the back on folded fabric. And we have 2 separated front panels and you cut them out by putting this pattern on a folded fabric, cut them out, and then separate them on this side. So this is what we have. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces eventually, when we're talking about fabric pieces. So there's 1 cuff, 2, the collar, 3, 2 sleeves, that is 5. Then we have the right and the right and left panel, 5, 6, 7, and then the back is 8. See you in the assembly video, guys.